Welcome to Beyond the Screen. You know, here at BTS, we like to look back on some of our favorite disasters in Hollywood's history. Well, today we're going to be breaking down the top 10 most controversial celebrity feuds. Number 10, Taylor Swift versus Kanye West. That's right, these two are in a feud, and apparently it's lasted for quite some time. In 2009, Kanye interrupted Swift during MTV's Music Video Awards as she was in the middle of an accepted speech for Best Female Music Video. While there was no altercation that took place on camera, over the next few months, the feud had become public, with Swift bashing Kanye's rude behavior during time specifically set aside for her. Kanye later apologized, and things seemed to be fine until 2015, when the rapper released a song called Famous, in which he said the line, where I'm paraphrasing of course, "I feel like me and Taylor may still make love. Why? I made that be famous." Swift was very vocal about her dislike for the song, and claimed that it was written to undermine her success. A few months later, Swift also put Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian, on blast after the influencer had publicly approved of the song's lyrics. Joke's on them though, as they have just made enemies with a woman who fuels her soul with hatred. I wonder what she's gonna be cooking up for us right now. Number 9, Cardi B versus Davies. In 2017, rapper Cardi B and model Davies appeared on an episode of VH1's Love and Hip Hop talk show. Things became heated very quickly when the topic of Aja's ex-boyfriend Swift came up. According to Davies, she was convinced that Cardi B and Swift were intimate together while she was still dating Swift. Cardi responded to the accusation by throwing her stiletto at Aja's face. She then jumped up and began making her way towards the model, but was stopped by two large security guards. Good thing too, considering on the other side of the room, Aja had done the same thing and was also being held back. An all-out brawl almost took place, but the altercation resorted to the pair yelling at each other from across the room, with Cardi's main grievance being the judgment placed upon her by Davies for being an exotic dancer before her time as a music artist. While Davies claimed that wasn't the case, it was very clear from both their verbal and physical language that there was certainly some shade looming overhead. Number 8, Nicki Minaj versus Miley Cyrus. MTV. It's the channel that just continues to deliver us such juicy reality moments. MTV was, however, responsible for the inception of one of the greatest award shows of all time, the Video Music Awards. The ceremony celebrates the best and brightest of the music industry, but in 2015 things got a little extra juicy. Miley Cyrus, remembered fondly as Hannah Montana and remembered for riding a wrecking ball, was hosting the event that year. Rapper Nicki Minaj had just taken the stage after winning the Best Hip Hop Video Award, but quickly shifted the audience's attention from herself to the host, Miley. Minaj was calling Miley out for supposedly talking trash about her in a recent interview. She asked Miley what's good, and Miley responded. She kept her cool and explained that everyone in the industry knows that news outlets and interviewers can manipulate footage to make comments sound worse than they actually are. She then reminded the audience about her difficult to watch performance at the ceremony in 2008, and then threw an 80-foot picture up on the wall to emphasize her point. Minaj's mic was cut off, and Miley introduced the list of artists being nominated for Best Future Artist before leaving the stage. This wouldn't be the first time Nicki got into it with another celebrity though, and her feud with Miley has persisted ever since. Number 7, Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez. Selena and Hailey share a feud. Reminds us of two kids in high school that just can't get along, only this time it's not just over a boy. Selena Gomez dated Canadian pop star Justin Bieber for quite some time throughout the 2010s. The relationship was rocky, and they would often split and get back together over and over again. He had been friends with Hailey Baldwin for a few years, with the relationship apparently becoming romantic at one point. While initially this was the cause of the feud between these two, more recently there seems to be a more personal reason for their hatred. A TikTok user posted a side-by-side comparison video of Hailey and Selena to show just how much Hailey had been copying Miss Gomez. There were photos of them wearing similar outfits. They also compared the coincidence of Hailey starting a YouTube cooking series called What's in My Kitchen when Selena had just released an HBO Max cooking show called Selena Plus Chef. Gomez was quick to thank fans for acknowledging the strange copycat behavior and let the world know that she was well aware of the similarities that began to arise, and she was not having any of it. Number 6, Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter. Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett co-starred on the Disney Plus series High School Musical, The the series. God, that's a terrible title. During their time on set, they developed a relationship that apparently did not end well, and it may have something to do with one Miss Sabrina Carpenter. The Bizarre Varks alum made headlines in January 2021 after releasing her debut single, Driver's License. The hit song resonated with Rodrigo's fans, including Taylor Swift, but it also caused some to think that it was about the rumored drama between her, Bassett, and Carpenter. Her lyrics were, "And you were probably with the blonde girl who always made me doubt. She's so much older than me, she's everything I'm insecure about." The main reason people think this is a dig at Carpenter is because initially the lyrics were the brunette girl, not blonde, apparently changing it following the news of Sabrina's relationship with Bassett. Sabrina and Olivia basically started a singing roast battle. Apparently they began releasing songs around the same time as each other, including topics of like liars, cheaters, jealousy, all that jazz. It looks like this feud will be fueling quite a few hit songs in the near future. Number 5, Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj. This feud has just been full of juicy moments that we love to watch. A few years ago at a Fashion Week event in New York City, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj appeared at separate times being photographed in stunning gowns on the streets of NYC. However, when the two crossed paths inside the building, things escalated quickly. According to witnesses, Nicki purposely stepped on Cardi's dress before spouting some nasty words about Cardi's baby daughter. Hey, first rule of trashing someone who's a parent, leave the kids out of it. Cardi blew up naturally. She stumbled as she tried to run across the room, once again being held back by bodyguards. But this time, she got through. After a moment of calm, Cardi lunged at Nicki, but is quickly blocked by her own security team, who must have made contact with Cardi because photos taken of her leaving the event show a nasty bump forming on her forehead. That wasn't the end though, as Cardi then began to remove her shoes and fling it at Nicki from across the room. She's like Hawkeye with a shoe, I swear. Nicki and her team kept the shoe as Exhibit A should they ever need to open a lawsuit for the incident. No charges were ever brought to light, but these two have been in a public feud ever since. Number 4, Isaiah Washington versus the Grey's Anatomy cast. Grey's Anatomy is a TV drama centered on the personal and professional lives of 5 surgical interns and their supervisors. The show garnered a massive fan base and was on air for over 420 episodes. For 62 of those episodes, a man named Isaiah Washington portrayed the character of Dr. Preston Burke. Following his departure from the series, Isaiah took to social media to call out his cast and crew of Grey's Anatomy for creating a hostile work environment. It was revealed that apparently Isaiah himself was responsible for the so-called hostility. He had started multiple feuds with fellow cast members, including a physical altercation with Patrick Dempsey on set, using homophobic slurs against T.R. Knight, and throwing shade at Katherine Heigl for throwing shade at him for using the slur. Needless to say, this is a very one-sided feud, as the Grey's producers just simply shut the door in his face and told him to take a hike. Number 3, Kanye West and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was the youngest cast member on SNL when he was hired at the age of 20. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete, parodying A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. The sketch was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got them going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who was actually attending the live show, but apparently stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely. Kim and Kanye began their divorce process not long after that, and simultaneously, Pete announced that him and Kim were official. Since then, Kanye has publicly bashed both his ex and Pete for their actions, and has been in a pretty big feud with him. Was little Kanye mad? Oh well, sucks to suck. Number 2, Jerry the King Lawler and Andy Kaufman. Jerry the King Lawler was a professional wrestler between the 1970s and late 80s. Andy Kaufman was a comedian and a regular star of the legendary sitcom Taxi, yet somehow their paths seemed destined to cross. On an episode of The Late Show with David Letterman in 1982, Jerry and Andy were brought on to share the stage after a feud between the two had become public. Kaufman wanted to make his name more popular and did so by attempting to join the World Wrestling the Entertainment Company. He eventually wiggled his way into the ring, and producers felt Lawler and Kaufman would make nice on-screen enemies. Lawler was old school and Kaufman was a wacky comedian who did not belong between the ropes. A few months before the interview took place, the two fought in a one-on-one match, and Lawler pile-drived Kaufman into a mat twice, the second of which left Kaufman limp and in need of hospital. On Letterman, Kaufman Kaufman was sporting a neck brace and appeared to be in enormous amounts of pain. The interview was meant to act as a reconciler for the pair, but instead devolved into shouting, slapping, and the threatening of a lawsuit. Their feud lasted for several years until Kaufman passed away in 1984. Number 1, Will Smith versus Chris Rock. Alright, let's just get this one out of the way. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscar ceremony when he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair. Rock expressed his excitement to see Jada in a fictional G.I. Jane movie, but immediately following the joke, which landed for everyone else in the audience, Rock stood in confusion as Will Smith made his way towards the stage. Will adjusted his jacket, he took a firm stance, and then he just clocked Chris right across the face. He winded up his hand first to conjure the ultimate force. Initially being seen as a planned joke between the two, Will then began shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his flippin' mouth. Now Chris handled the situation very well. He kept his cool, he laughed it off, and brought out the next award presenters. He was professional and quick to get the night back on track, but unfortunately an hour later Will Smith won the Oscars for Best Actor in a Leading Role. He played Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams, and during his speech he gave a half-hearted apology for his actions before claiming the situation was due to his months of portraying the father on set, leaving him with an extreme paternal sense to protect his family. Unfortunately for Will, the slap was enough to get him banned from the Oscars indefinitely. Chris later took to Twitter to share his thoughts on the event, calling Will's actions unnecessary and aggressive. It would appear that getting smacked on live TV isn't something Rock can just forgive. So yeah, this is like the least surprising feud on the list. And there you go guys, those are the top 10 celebrity feuds. Who did we miss and who do you think is going to be fighting next? Please leave a comment down below. Thank you for checking out our content. As always, we will see you next time.